And we are live. One person watching on Facebook, another person watching on YouTube.
1-1. Hello. I'm very excited.
There's no more passing of the mic back and forth.
None of that.
Yeah, that was brutal to watch.
Yeah. Cringy.
I mean, you have to start from somewhere.
True.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hey, hello. Welcome back to another edition of our Talk It Out sessions presented by V.E.R.B. We're your hosts, Aaron Tate, Adrian Post, saying hello. Jasmine Patterson behind camera. We're saying hello to our future self. Say hello to
Hi, you guys. How are you doing?
She now has her own mic. Leveling up.
Be growing slowly but surely. If you caught our other videos, then you know what we like to do is we like to take a specific topic, particularly one that is controversial, and we like to discuss it. We come up with different talking points to bring up throughout the discussion, but we also like to get involved with you guys as well. So for those of you tuning in, please feel free to comment and ask any questions you think might contribute to the conversation. With that being said, our topic today is, can I get a number 2, please? Would you like to discuss
the
how
title?
Can I get a number 2? Can I get a number 2?
No pickles and ketchup. So yeah, I would love to discuss how we came up with this topic. So I woke up on one, as my friends here know that I often do. And something that was plaguing me on the way to work is I've noticed through various conversations with people that a lot of people, they'll say they want one thing, yet they don't really play out what that comes with. So as I was headed to work, I was like, let me start a poll. So I sent this message to like 20 to 25 females asking them, and I quote, would you rather have a man who has no other options besides you to choose from to share the rest of your life with, or a man who has multiple options yet has decided to only choose you to share the rest of your life with? And I posed the question in our V.E.R.B think tank. Aaron, of course, like, yeah, let's run it. Jazz was like, give me a minute and let me think about it. So I'll let her give you her answer before I started reading all of the other answers that I got.
So, with my response, I chose option 2.
Number 2.
The response that I said in the chat was, everyone is entitled to have options. After exploring those options, and I'm the one that is chosen, then one can believe by him choosing me, I am where he wants to be. That was my final response. It took a minute to choose between the two, but I settled on that one.
What made that hard? Like, why did it take a minute to choose?
Because I wanted to make sure that I clearly thought about each option. Would I feel good being the only decision in option 1? And then, yes, I'm with him for the rest of my life. We're good. But then I also was thinking further with it when it came to resentment. I didn't want to be looked or cast in that light because he didn't get the opportunity to have other options, I guess. So I didn't want it to be solely focused on me. I thought about resentment with that. In option 2, I was like, do I want to be like the pick me type of girl, or do I want to, allow him to go through all these options and then, you decide me? But then I thought about it. If the roles were reversed, everybody's entitled to have options. Like, they're entitled to meet, interact with different people, personalities, perspectives, and then if you find one that you're more kindred to, you'll navigate, or not navigate, but you'll gravitate to that particular person, and then end up being chosen, or the chosen one. So that's why I ended up rolling off with number 2.
So you're saying that you deem option number one as you don't want him later on down the line to feel resentment for something he quote unquote could or could not have had, and you deem it that you must be more valuable if he had other options and still chose you
Yes.
anyway. Okay.
So it's all about how you would want to feel
Right.
in
Like
that
I
scenario.
just try to put myself in that.
Not about just being satisfied with finding a potential
Right. Right.
life partner for the
Because
rest of
of
your
how
life.
I think, like I just wanted to make sure I saw it from all angles. Because of course, like if you first look at you send it like, yeah, pick me. Yeah, I'm the only one that you should be, rocking with. Like, yeah, you're gonna choose me. Like, yeah, you're gonna be with me forever, and I don't care. But then I thought more about it, and I'm like, but I want that. Like, I just try to put myself in the male's shoes, I guess, when that happened, when I was trying to decide, because I would want the same in return.
Well, question. So for you, if you didn't have multiple options and you ended up with one person that you were able to find, would you feel cheated out of the opportunity to explore or to exercise numerous options?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, because you'll be with somebody for so long, and you don't. I'm not gonna say
Know anything
I'm
else?
not gonna say bored, but like you'll want to interact or
That word comes up a lot.
is it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, that
So
word
yeah,
comes
you
up a
don't
lot.
you don't want to be like, dang, this is the only person I know. Like I ain't got nobody else to look at, to bounce ideas off of. Like it's just this person. So yeah, that's why I was just like, at least to expand my mind, just be able to interact or have different conversations and hear different perspectives from other people instead of and being like, you know what, I like your perspective. I like where you're going with that. So yeah.
So I have so many questions, but I want to read some of these comments first. So all of the comments that I'm reading is coming from females that responded
Okay.
to me, right? So one of them said definitely the second option because why not? Someone else said someone else said honestly I would want option B, which is the second one. I would like to see why and how my image, character, and personality made me stand out as the best option over all the other women. Someone else said, I would probably say the latter, which is B again, having multiple options but deciding to choose me because to me that would mean he carefully made a thorough decision internally to choose me based on what he saw and knew that was in line with his values, beliefs, and maybe even standards. So he was meticulous in choosing who he wanted because he saw what he wanted. Yeah, saw what he didn't want. I'm sorry. Did you send it? Oh. So someone else said, multiple, but choose me, cause why not? And why he ain't got no other options anyway? What's wrong with him? Somebody said, hey, bruh, I definitely prefer the second one. Now, if the man is truly committed to me and only me to growing in love with me, I think the first one isn't so bad. But as for me, I definitely choose the second one. I have to choose one. I'd rather a man choose me for all the right reasons, whether he has options or not. Said the man who has options and has chosen me to share the rest of his life with. So basically, most of all the women said option one. Option B. Now we did have one that says, if there is a choice to be made, don't pick me, because the same way you got that man, other options can come along later on in life, and he can choose them. Him picking you doesn't mean he loves you at all. He's selfish and feeding his own ego. This is kind of contradictive because she said if you have options, don't pick me because options are going to come along later in life and he can choose them. Well, if you go with option B, then that wouldn't be a thing because he's already had those options and chose you. So your answer to one actually creates a problem that you're talking about avoiding getting the second one. You see what I'm saying? She said if there is a choice to be made, don't pick me. Because the same way you got that man, other options can come along later on in life and he can choose them. That's counterproductive. Am I tripping?
She's saying she doesn't want option two because if she's amongst the other choices that he has, she doesn't want to be the one he chooses.
Right, because later on in
So she
life,
will
other options will come, and he'll then choose them.
right. So she's saying that she wants option one.
Yeah,
And how is it contradicted?
because she said if there is a choice, meaning if you have multiple choices, then don't choose her. So she's not for two. So she wants a man who only has her as an option. Because if multiple options come along for a man that chooses her with options, he'll then choose them. That don't make no sense.
But I guess she's trying to project that if he chooses me and had no other option, then other options won't be able to come along for him to be able to choose away from me.
And see,
In the long run.
and that's what I want to deal with, right?
That's good.
That's exactly. So
Real quick, Rhonda Jones said, it's the intro for me. Rachel Reeves said, there's always a choice.
that's exactly what I was finna get into. So the question is kind of a trick question because there's always gonna be options for anyone, even if it's only two or three. Because whatever you found interesting in him, someone else will also find interesting in him as well. But what I really want to delve in is a couple of things. So I'm going to ask you, Jazz, this. So you've already deemed the man who has multiple options choosing you as the option you want to go with, right? Do you have something in your mind that would deem you able to be chosen?
I would assume certain skills that I would be able to bring to the table that either, I guess that he's looking for. Of course, I want to make sure that I have those skills before I can just bring them to the table, I guess.
Can you give me three
I'm
skills?
sorry.
Three skills, please.
Effective communication. Um, if I can say effective communication, I can say problem solving skills. I can say I want to be honest. That's what I'm thinking. Um, Honestly, that's what I can do right now. Just because I don't want to just throw a skill out there, and I'm not. I'm good at it, but I'm not. I haven't perfected.
Prepared to live up
yes.
to it on a daily.
So
Yeah,
those
gotcha.
two,
I respect that.
I'm strong with. I feel. So I'll go.
Okay, so I have another question. Being that this man has multiple options, can you name three things that would make him eligible to have those options? Like, what is it that would deem a man of that caliber to have those options? Give me three things that you would be like, oh, the reason he got options is because he one, two,
Of the
three.
world, or just
You could just, they don't even have to be stuff
if
we
he
discussed, just
has-
stuff that
if he has
you,
multiple options.
he probably
He's
has.
probably financially stable. If he has more than one option, he. Of course.
When we talking financially stable, what kind of money we talking about? Let's be real. Let's be real about it for a second.
Financially stable as far as like maybe.
Because not every financially stable man has multiple options. There's a threshold that he has to
Would
be
we
able to
would
make.
we then lean into the six figures type of thing?
Yes,
Okay.
okay. There we go.
So if financially stable, he would be at six figures. I don't mean to be vain, but of course he has to be attractive. Another skill, something as far as a woman and him having those options, I would say that he probably is a good conversationalist. Like he knows how to hold a conversation, or he's intriguing in some way.
Okay. So he has money, he looks good, and he conversates well. Great, right? So as a woman who deems it valuable to be chosen by such a man, these three things are external things that are projected on a daily basis, right? If he has money, 9 out of 10, he dresses nice, so therefore people know he got it, right? If he looks good, then we know what looks good looks like. You can see that from down the hall, right? Then a conversationist, meaning he's not going to be in the house all day. He's going to be outside in the world, right? So, because these are the three things that you name, these are the three things you deem valuable, and you have already agreed that he has multiple options, and just say you got with that man, right? Are you mentally and emotionally prepared to deal with wanting such a man?
Me, honestly, no.
I'm so glad you flat out admitted that. So, could you name me some struggles that you would have dealing with such a man?
Probably keeping his attention. I mean, if he's a good conversationalist, that means that he knows how to hold conversations with different types of people. Somebody could come along and have the right type of conversation that I maybe not be able to have. Especially if it's a man of that has several options, he's gonna be in a different caliber of people. Or yeah, yeah, he's
And what would that require of you then?
to just up my game on um, being able to have those types of conversations, being able to hold those conversations, and to keep the attention of of him when we have those conversations.
And based on the circle of women that you've talked to, you can all, or we can agree that most of y'all want a man of that nature, but do you, or do y'all even talk about being able to keep up with such
No,
requests? So how is it that that's something that is across the board being asked for?
as what do you mean as far as
Like if all of these women are agreeing, hey, I want option two, but then you just stated that that's not what we discuss in our social circles. So how is it that women have a running dialogue of requesting something that y'all don't have a school of thought to keep up with, but then expect that man to do what?
it's a good question.
No, he's expecting the man to be faithful or to stay at home or to not exercise other options.
Being that you requested a man who has them, which comes with all of the possibilities. And you've admitted that, well, we don't sit around and talk about things that we can do to make sure we are tending to what we requested, right? Like if you go apply for a car, you know that you need a job, you got to put gas in it, put oil in it, change the fluids. That's how life works, right? But you're requesting such a high caliber man, but yet there's not a running conversation in most women's social circle about things that you can do to keep up. But that man is still expected to uphold not only the three things that he already has, but all of the things that come along with that when he steps outside. What do we do with that?
I think with the society or the type of you know women that we have now, like they look at those types of men as, like, I guess, surface men. So because they don't require or challenge us to do more than just look cute, can hold a conversation. It might not be intriguing, but you can talk, you can have that conversation. Because those simple things are being done, they don't see a need to elevate it or do better in those categories to continue to gain the attention of that man, I guess.
But then complain when other women have the attention of
Right.
of your man. Gotcha.
Is that
Yeah, it's right. I mean,
real quick. Rachel Reeves said, "There's no other choice than he had to pick you. I wouldn't be okay with that. You have to be mentally prepared to deal with people who are disciplined, have boundaries and self-love, especially if you aren't there. I guess we have to know the signs of love and not base it on constant
I agree,
attention,
Rachel.
especially if they have goals outside of a regular career. Finances are important to support love. You better be emotionally and mentally prepared for the man you think you want. You got to be secure with
I
yourself."
agree, Rachel. That's a good comment.
Yeah, and I'm like, my question now is, since that's a general consensus across the board, now that we've laid out the expectations, there need to be conversations had within the women's social circle that you all are doing things to tend to your request. So there's not a problem with wanting such a man. The problem is, what are you doing to satiate or compensate or keep up with or add to or contribute to such a man? Because for men, when we're developing those skills, that's a personal thing. Now, granted, we go to the gym because we want to look good, and we know that because we look good, that's gonna bring about the attention. But even if that man isn't getting compliments, he's still hitting that gym at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Men who decide to develop their speech and their articulation and their vernacular, even if no one comes along to help him utilize those terminologies, he's still gonna be reading those books. So my thing is, you admitted that women need or require some type of push to develop things that maintain something they request. Men don't think like that, because regardless of the push we're getting, we're going to still develop that thing anyway. And I feel as though if women approached it with that same mentality, that'll create a better atmosphere between the two. And a lot of the things that's happening in these relationships is the woman outgrows the man, or the man outgrows the woman, because equal party has not dedicated themselves to developing specific skills that would contribute to the partnership, and one is siphoning or sifting off of the other, hoping that they're going to continue to pull them along. And then we got divorce, domestic violence, adultery, cheating, malice, hard breakups, because the two individuals didn't decide collectively to grow within themselves and then let the other party get the benefits. One of them was growing, and then the other one expected just to be pulled along. And that's why I'm asking this question. Do we as a whole fully understand what we're asking for oftentimes need a contributing part on our behalf? So if I say I want a woman, and I know this guy that says I want a woman that's fine, sunset, no kids, blah, blah, blah. But you got a beer stomach though. Like you look pregnant. Like, how dare you ask for a woman of that caliber? The only way you will get that, my guy, is if that's her thing. Like, if that woman is going to the gym, working out, keeping her body in shape, you think she's gonna want somebody that looks like you? So until you get there, how dare you request that unless that's her fetish? Because some women like those type of men, but that percentage is gonna be small. So how dare you say you want a woman like that and you look like this? So my thing is, if you're requesting something from somebody, whether you're male or female, make sure you're that first. And then you got the right to ask for it. Don't be just asking for it and you're nowhere near that, because that don't make no sense.
I agree with that.
Rachel said, this is a mental health issue, honestly. We develop expectations from people via trauma in many cases, or a lack of proper parenting and development. She also said, I don't know, Adrian, some people don't expect the other person to do and act the same as them because they bring something else they lack to the table, so not always.
So give me a scenario where one person, and I'm talking about things that are needed, right? I'm not talking about mundane properties. Like, I'm talking about effective communication. If I'm bringing effective communication, you can't bring just communication. You just can't. Like, that's not going to work. If I'm bringing health and wellness and self-awareness, you can't bring chaos and, I'll figure it out as I go. Those things don't work together. And I feel like the delusion we live in is one person has enough gumption to just continue to pour into something a multitude of what they have, and they're supposed to just keep putting up with your lack. At some point, you're going to have to either contribute or face the fact that, hey, this ain't for me. So I'm not saying one person is bringing a major skill and the other person is like, oh, well, if I'm bringing effective communication, I'm going to put up with my wife because she know how to clean a window. No. Your window cleaning is not going to trump my effective communication. I can pay somebody to clean a window. I need a skill that matches that. Actually, I need that same skill. And this is not a shot at my wife because she has came a great way in effective communication. That's why we are where we are today. But I've been exposed to so many marriages and relationships within the last month. And the problem are lack of skills. One person has it, the other person don't even know it exists. And now the marriage or the relationship is completely out of whack. So give me a scenario where one person who has a major skill is okay just because somebody doesn't know how to cut grass or change a tire. Like that the two are not synonymous to one another.
She said, "Right, I got you."
Yeah, no.
LOL.
So with
that don't work like that.
particular scenario, the person that has the effective communication or whatever the case may be, and the partner does not, like, are they having those conversations? Like, are they talking to them about what's needed or what they're craving in order to continue to move forward?
Yes, they are, but this is the danger with intangibles. And intangibles are anything that can't be held, right? So effective communication is an intangible force because there's no measure of it. You can't put it in your hand, but it's a thing, right? So the danger you face with people like that, this person has effective communication, this person doesn't. The person who has effective communication is communicating, right? You don't know how long this person is going to keep doing that before they reach their limit of, I'm tired of this. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not finna keep doing this and you're not trying. So this person asked for somebody who communicates, got multiple options and all of this. Why would I keep doing this and I have other options? Why you got other you wanted that though. You wanted somebody of this caliber. You just didn't predict the fact that you have to load that caliber though, right? So you wanted this, you got it. But do you know what to do with it though? What are you doing? Because you don't know how long that person is going to keep trying to do that before they be like, I could really have anybody I want. And you're going to feel away. Okay, he went on and got sense. Said, well, you asked for this type of person. So the reality is, I did not have what it takes to uphold my request. But people don't think it out like that. They deem it as, oh, well, I can just do a little bit and get by. But I want this, though. You want that. But are you willing to do what it takes to upkeep it? And it's not you upkeeping them because they clearly good. What are you doing on an individual level?
Just so you can say that you exhausted all of your options and all of the things that you could do to rectify the situation. If you do have to walk away, are you going to be able to walk away and be like, I tried everything. I took classes so that I could figure out how to make sure that
I watched videos. I reached out to friends. I sought counseling. I meditated. I prayed. Like, did you go through the channels?
Work, then it's unfortunate, but it's okay because you can walk away saying
you've exhausted up. But how many people can say that?
Probably not a lot.
People not doing no personal work like that because if they were, these wouldn't even be a conversation we have to have. The fact that we have to have these conversations lets us know that there must be issues revolving around what we're discussing. Like, how dare we be requesting these things but not understanding the totality of what it takes to maintain such a request? Like, how dare we? That makes no sense. Am I tripping?
No.
But you would think women of all gender would understand this concept the best. Because how many women can say that they've been how many women can speak to being in a situation with a man who was less than what they normally would have gone for, or less than their particular standard, but was willing to attempt to pour into him, expecting that your juice was potent enough to influence him to be better in the long run, right? But then coming up short, or seeing that your attempt was futile, or didn't produce the results or the fruit that you expected it to. So eventually you decided to walk away from that situation. But it's like men. I'm sorry. It's like women don't expect that the same thing can
Can
be
happen
true
to
And
for
that's
them.
what I was
men
Yeah.
saying. And that's
on
what
the
I was
other
saying
end.
earlier. Most men don't have those conversations. I even feel like men that are in that caliber don't want to have those conversations. To be honest, I feel like they probably think that is beneath them. Like I shouldn't be explaining to you how to hold a conversation with me. I shouldn't be explaining to you how this particular situation made me feel. Like men aren't having the conversations. Like they're not expecting more from that woman. So if she doesn't know or if she's not having those conversations with him, she doesn't know if she needs to change or adjust. She probably just thinks that it's surface because that's mostly what men are looking at, or that's mostly what men like really care about. Because we've already stated that you don't care about my finances, but then we saying that, or men such as yourself saying that same breath, I want to make sure that you can at least manage money. And you have some women that are just like, oh well, he hasn't been talking to me lately, so maybe I just need to maybe put on more makeup, or maybe if I need to change something, instead of like, let me sit down and have this conversation. Like, what is it that I am not doing, so that I can see if that's something that I can change, or see if that's something that I can improve on. And if I honestly cannot improve on it or do better with that, I understand that you have to walk away from it. But like I said, men aren't really.
How many women you know that gonna really eat that though? Like you come up and be like, hey, why we ain't been talking? Cause you
I
slow.
feel like there's a lot of women. Not it might not be a lot. It might not be a lot, but there are
Okay,
women.
thank you. It's
There
not.
are
Come on.
women out there that do know how to communicate. That do know how to sit down and directly look at you and be like, so babe, I know that we've been having this friction. I know that we haven't been getting along. I want to talk about it. I want to see what it is that I'm not doing, or what it is that you're not doing, for us to be off balance like this. There are women in the world that do that, that have those conversations.
I mean, there are definitely
There are,
exceptions,
Yeah.
there are, but I think
but
there are. I'm not negating that. There's just no women that don't know how to do that. I know that there are women that know how to have those conversations, but I do feel like men need to be more vocal about what's not working for you, especially when you're in a committed relationship.
And for you to say that to me is kind of offsetting because I've literally heard women say, these are my problems with him. And I'd be like, have you told him that? Nah, I ain't want to hurt his ego. But you just said we need to be more vocal. Like, for the sake of our ego, you all harbor things that need to be changed, create resentment, and then resent him, and he don't got a clue. And then you hit him with that, well, he should know. But if he should know, he clearly don't know, and he clearly never will. So
That
where are
means
we
one person
going?
does not know how to effectively communicate. Somebody doesn't know how
Right.
to do it, and that's why you
And
have
something
those
else,
situations like that.
something else that I find funny just cycling through the different scenarios that I hear is women and men be mad at the counterpart for a specific thing, such as the way they spend money. So say a woman is mad because the man overspends money, right? Then they'll talk to their friend and tell everybody else, since they're spending money, blah blah blah. But then they're mad with the man for doing it. But when did he ever show you he could do that though? Like he doesn't have a track record of doing that. So where are you expecting him to wake up and do that from? But then we'll still be mad though. Like, are you mad at him, or are you mad at the fact that you avoided identifying that and it hasn't changed? And you have an expectation for it to change based on a conversation that was never had. So he's still operating in that manner. You're mad, building resentment, causing fights between y'all. But y'all ain't sat down and had no conversation about that. He never showed you he could do that. But you have a level of expectation for him to, well, he'll man up one day. He'll grow up one day. But like you married 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line and you still got the same problem. Now you're ready to leave.
And now you ready to leave off of a whim because ain't nobody had no conversation.
Anybody talk about that? When we did talk, we was yelling at each other.
Are there any comments? Well, I agree.
So what do we do? Like, how do we get to the point to where men and women are both conscious of not only what they want, which is fine, but what comes with that? That's the part that we're always missing. We have no problem with voicing our wants, but when we get off into the details, are you willing to deal with what comes with that? Like any woman that vocally admitted, I want a man with multiple options. We shouldn't hear you saying, why she looking at you? Oh, you must, you like, what's all that? Because this is exactly what you asked for. What's all that?
I mean, it sounds like it could be hidden insecurities. I think in one of the comments that you said, if you don't have options, then they ask the question, I guess, of what's wrong with you. Like I said, I think for me, the reason why I answered that, because again, everyone is entitled to have those options, right? Because I'm aware that you have options, if you chose me, that means that something I did or I said that that you liked or that intrigued you or whatever the case may be. With me knowing that, I need to be strong in that right that I was chosen, right? Yes, you do have other options, but like Rachel said, like you really need to be mentally and emotionally ready to deal with the fact that other women find this man top tier. So if that's the case, make sure that whatever things that he's looking for, make sure that you can do those things. And if you can't do those things, figure out what you need to do in order to either be better for self, because again, if the relationship doesn't work, at least you'll be able to take those skills away from that particular relationship, go put it with someone else. But again, like you said, we really need to work on having those conversations, figuring out what it is that I'm not doing and not getting insecure because somebody else could possibly get your attention or somebody else is intriguing you. I'm not saying be out here looking crazy, or I'm not saying be out here doing things that you normally wouldn't do. Like if you are insecure, or if you are not comfortable with the options, have a conversation with him, see what it is that you need to talk about in order to in order for you to emotionally and mentally be prepared to keep dealing with this particular situation. All I do in that is just trust who you're with. Like if you can't trust who you're with, then again, a conversation needs to be had. And if it still doesn't get any better, then be okay with walking away and knowing that you tried everything that you could to rectify the situation.
I think for me, I think you all give us too much control over those things. Because most women keep saying, well, if he picked me, he must have saw something in me and picked me. Let's do away with that. I'm finna give y'all some real live game.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm finna give y'all some real live game. Okay. Women keep saying the reason that number 2 is pleasing is because out of all the options, if he picked me, he must have saw something in me that made him pick me. Let me remove that. What you or any other individual who picked option 2 should be saying is, the reason he picked me is because I'm boom, boom, boom. But like, you should know those things. You should know those things. Y'all give us too much. You don't even know what they are. Yeah. You're just assuming
and wanting us to determine what it is.
Yes, and that's not how that works. And that is what separates you from every other option we have. The only time that man is going to pick you like that is not when he tells you what those things are. It's when you embody what those things are. You should tell him, nigga, I ain't worried about you messing around with such and such because I'm bim. Like, you should know. But the fact that you don't know, you're now hoping that whatever it is enough to keep him. That's not how we work. I can name 20 things that I know for a fact I'm not worried about my wife messing around on me for. And this is the kicker. Even if she do, that's her settling. But when a woman get messed around on, the first thing come to mind is why he do that to me. What did she have that I didn't? If my wife mess around on me, I'm not finna ask myself what he. Baby, you left brand name for great value. There's no way in the world he putting up numbers like me. That's the difference.
Latrice got what she said as far as just the self-worth aspect. Like, I know what I can bring.
I'm well aware.
Welcome. If
I
you
got a
like
list.
me, welcome. I like you
Bet.
too.
I can tell any woman that I've ever spoke with why she likes me. I'm not waiting on you to be like, oh, you said. Yes, ma'am. Here's another list of things that I have. And it's not arrogant. Like I said earlier, I go to the gym because I like how I look in that mirror. It comes with the compliments, but I'm not doing them for the compliments. So that is what keep a man of my stature or Aaron's stature stable, because we're not hinging it on. Oh, I hope I have skills that Jazz like. I know I got skills that Jazz like. I'm not concerned about Jazz going elsewhere. And if she do, she's settled. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to why most women chose option B. For them, they believe that they're special to be chosen out of a crowd or out of a pool of options, but being chosen is what validates what they want to believe to themselves in their head. Whether what you're saying is whether you're chosen or not, you should already know that this is what you come with, right? So that's why women are wanting to choose, because that must mean, or that must confirm what I'm believing about myself. It shouldn't be a belief.
No, you should know that.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
Like you should know. Oh, this. Oh, it makes sense. Why
Yeah,
you chose
it
me.
makes perfect sense.
Who else would you do?
You don't have any other options. You don't. You really don't. And I feel bad that you don't, but here I am.
I wish there were more of me.
But it's not.
It's not.
So where you going?
Yep.
Where you going? And that's like you said. Women wait. Most women wait till the man pick them to feel special. Men like us already know we're special, so we know why we were picked. Total different game.
Y'all have to understand y'all are unicorns as well. I know y'all don't like that term, but it's not a lot of men that have that mindset. They're focused on the right, but I'm saying for women to have like that concept, because that's great. That's a great concept. I'm gonna take that.
It builds everything. Self-worth, self-esteem, self-determination.
Like, I don't need nobody else to tell me.
Like you don't need validation. You're not in competition with anyone but yourself. And whether you realize it or not, that is what will separate you from every other wig, eyelash, makeup wearing female in the world. That type of energy, it generates off of you on a daily basis, which is what gives men like us all these options. But the same thing that gives us options is the same thing that deflect those options. Make sense?
Yeah.
The same thing that gives me options, which is my intellect, my pride, my consciousness, my self-awareness, all of that is what generates and makes me magnetic. At the same time, because I have those things, that is what keeps those options at a distance, to keep me focused on what I actually chose.
That's what you're saying. I agree.
But for women, it's I don't know why I'm special.
Ooh, somebody made me
Somebody made me special. You don't know though.
You're waiting on someone.
You're waiting on someone else to validate how special you are, and you spend the rest of your life wondering. Well, I don't know if he. Dang, he can get that. He can get that up the street. Oh, dang, that. She. Oh, you talk to her. You're gonna spend the rest of your life wondering what's going on. I don't have to wonder.
And trying to conform to what that person wants.
Yeah.
But if you are
what you are when they chose you, you don't have anything to conform to. I know exactly why you chose me. Instead of having to constantly shift into what's next.
Be that.
There's a lot of conforming. I can be
settling.
I can be what he wants.
I'll be whatever he wants. No.
Be
what you are, and if you are what he wants, you don't have to move anything else. Keep doing exactly that, and you ain't never got to worry about him going nowhere.
And like you said, if he do, I wish you well. Be blessed.
But
the reason that a lot of women are like that because I changed all these things about me, and he still left.
Now I'm mad.
You don't do that. Don't do that like that.
Right.
That's not how they work.
And if it was working,
why are we here?
Good question.
No other comments.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying on me choosing that option, and I do feel like I could possess more skills, but like you said, I will do that when I'm ready to make sure that I can do that. I shouldn't be doing that off the strength of trying to conform to what someone else wants. And if they don't want what I have to offer, that is okay. Someone else will see it. And if they don't, again, I'm doing these things for me, for self, because this is what I want. This is how I want to do things.
If we pass out prescriptions for the sake of someone else taking the prescription, it'll make you resent the prescription, right? Like if I give you a Tylenol just for the sake of somebody else having a headache, like why am I taking it? They're not doing anything for me. But if I give you a Tylenol because you identify that you have a headache, you will then like Tylenol. So if I'm telling you, hey Jazz, if you learn how to communicate, you'll get a husband.
No, that's not what you're telling me.
I'm telling you, hey Jazz, you need to learn how to communicate for yourself. A husband or wife coming is just the result.
But don't focus on that.
Because regardless of if that happens or not, this is still something you need.
Correct.
And then everything else
gravitates towards you.
Stop
projecting out what you're trying to do.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
But
the world projects out of, I'm going to do this particular thing because this is going to give me what I want from someone else.
Get
it for yourself, and the someone else will automatically happen.
And that's what
make us have multiple options.
We have multiple
options because we take care of ourselves. But I take care of myself because I want to do that for me. A result of it is
y'all
like how it looks. We go to the gym because I want to do that for myself. The result of it is you like how I look. Notice how if you start internally, the external automatically happens. If you start externally, you are empty inside. Every single time.
At that point, you're allowing that external to try to fill up your internal, and that's something that you should be taking care of. And that goes for both parties, men and women. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not how it works.
I agree. It makes sense.
So be very mindful
of what you're asking for, because 9 times out of 10, what you're asking for requires you to do something, not just you to receive something. So we're saying, I want a man with multiple options. You're also saying, I'm on a forever quest now to develop to the same degree that man has developed. And if not, I'm going to spend the rest of my life depressed and stressed out because all of those other options are out there and I'm doing absolutely nothing to keep up with it. That's on you. Because this is exactly what you asked for.
And I can't be mad.
Don't run up in the mad. Why she always in your face? The same reason you here. What she want? The same thing you want.
Same thing you want.
Oh, you talked to her?
And I did. She does.
Well, you can't.
Oh, no. You wanted this.
I think somebody said something about being careful with choosing that option too. I forgot what she said. She said more than
But the reality is, there's option one is doesn't
Yeah.
even exist.
it doesn't.
But
It's a
it
cute
But it
fantasy.
plays on a
Yeah, it's-
delusion. Yeah, it's a cute fantasy to think that you're the
Or
only
your
option
favorite
in the
word,
world. You're
delusion.
not.
It's a cute delusion.
Yeah, it's very delusional. That's why I put it there. It's very delusional. But that's not a thing. Everyone always has
It's
options.
crazy that like a lot of the women that you did ask, they didn't choose that option. Like maybe one or two.
They was like,
Right.
why would I want that? But I bet if I ask those women, well, what are you doing to sustain or uphold that?
What you mean?
What you mean? What you mean? What I mean?
You give me three things
Like
that
three
make
things
you
together that make you.
can't even name two.
No.
Well, he
must know because he chose me. That's fine. What you know about you?
Oh, he know you better than
Oh, he know you better than you know you.
Got a bigger problem.
We got a bigger problem now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm glad you asked me this question because
So
it
thank
really, like I said, I struggled on trying to choose because I did think, or when I was thinking about the different angles, self-worth was an angle because I'm like, but then I'm like, maybe he's expecting me to give an answer.
Why people be trying to like
He's
jump
I don't
me
know.
to make
I
sure
don't
like
know.
Guess what?
yeah,
you expected.
no, because you gonna fall into my trap either way it goes. 99% of my questions is a trap.
You, matter of fact, you already caught.
When I ask, you're already on the
Like,
trap.
and it's crazy because every time you ask a question so specific,
I'm
I am
always-
trying to
yeah.
figure out where the trap door is. Like, because I
No.
don't want to fall into it, but I'm like,
You're going to fall into it.
so yeah. And I, like I said, I did think
When
about
you hear my voice, you're got.
The best thing for you to
The best thing for you to, when I start talking about la 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 la, don't let me say it.
When you let me get to a
When you
period,
let me
you're
get to a
done.
period, you're done.
That's funny.
That's why I always say you're gonna let me get to a period because I know if I can get there, it's over. It's
once
over.
you get there, it's like a rebuttal. Oh no.
People don't realize like we have already drawn you in
Yes.
to the point of no return.
Yeah, like you good as
Like
got.
when people come in, when people are interacting with us and like, man, I can't stand y'all. Well, we already drew you
Yeah,
in.
you here. You're
here.
literally standing in the middle of us saying, I can't stand y'all.
You're fine.
Clearly, you're fine. You're clearly fine.
You ain't even have a seat.
You ain't even had a seat.
And had to see.
Yeah, we got you. So
Yeah, we got you. So that I mean, you can take the nugget. Like anytime we having a conversation,
If you let us,
if you hear our voice, you already got.
You're under.
If you let us get to the period, you might as well just be like, all right, bro,
because it's done.
because it's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Well, now's a good time for In a Perfect World. For those of you who have not seen this before or are unaware of what this segment is, In a Perfect World just basically allows us to take all of the concepts that we've discussed within this conversation and determine that if we were to apply these concepts to real life, what would a perfect world look like? So, Jasmine, for you, what is a perfect world?
In a perfect world, with this particular topic, women will realize their self-worth and you will work on things internally for self. Allow that energy to exude to whoever it may and allow them to be drawn into you. In a perfect world, don't conform to what somebody else wants or what somebody else is asking of you. If you don't have that particular skill, if you want to, let it be your decision on if you want to conform to that or if you want to improve on that. And again, if it doesn't work out, you now have 1, 2 to 3 more new skill sets that you didn't have before that you'll be able to carry on with self and allow someone else to either gravitate to that or not gravitate to it. In a perfect world, women let's know who we are. Let's know that we are just as much of a sponge as anyone, and we can soak up the knowledge. We can soak up what's needed in order to continue to better ourselves. And if we keep that concept and that thought process, we'll be some bad mama jammas to be out here to be a force with.
Adrian?
I agree with Jazz. In a perfect world, women and men would have a better concept of self And I was speaking with someone this week where the female thought that because she had these things going on, that would be a prohibiting factor of her receiving something she wants. And I identified that those things are not a problem. If you had these things, we can work on them things. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the world has a flawed perspective of what the problem actually is. And as long as we're focusing on those problems, you won't ever see the true issue. So in a perfect world, women and men will spend more time developing their internal skills. And like you stated, regardless of if it gravitates someone to you or not, you still don't lose. We're betting so much on other people that we're not putting that energy into ourselves, and we're losing every day.
For me, in a perfect world, people would understand, both men and women would understand that if you have not done anything to make yourself special, please don't go around thinking that you're special.
Say it again.
If you have not done anything to make yourself special, please don't go around thinking that you are special.
One more time, please.
If you have not done anything to make yourself special, please don't go around thinking that you are special. Do something that sets yourself apart from everybody else. And then you can then believe or know for a fact that you are special. There is something about you that stands out above the rest. But just thinking that you're special because you're breathing.
Yeah, everyone is breathing.
Everyone breathes.
Fortunately,
Everyone can go get some eyelashes.
Yeah.
Everyone can go put a wig on.
everybody can get a fade.
Everybody can get a fade.
Everybody can get polo shirts,
Everybody
J's.
can,
It's
get
not that. That's not
latest
hard.
Jordan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Surface.
if you're not doing any, if you're following the status quo, you are then average at that point.
Yeah, you definitely average.
So there's no reason to believe that you're special when you're doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
So do the work on yourself. Make
I love
yourself
that.
special,
I love
and then
that.
you can go around believing that or knowing that you're special,
That-
and someone will have a reason to choose you because you are special.
and you don't have to wait on them to tell you what that
You
is.
don't have to wait on them to tell you what that is. You already know for a fact.
What you said is so simple, but I like people need to tell their children that. Like, you are not special just because you believe you're special. Do something.
Do something.
Like, do something. Like, say that again. That is so. It's so simple, but I've never heard nobody flat out be like, "Hey, you do know you not. You ain't nothing just because you breathing.
Yeah.
Do something." That's so beautiful to me.
If you are not doing anything to make yourself special, please don't go around believing that you are.
You're not. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Cause people tell, "Oh, my baby this. Your baby is a baby. Wear diapers like every other baby wear diapers.
Mm-hmm.
Your baby walking, crawling, slob, and spit like every other baby.
Mm-hmm.
Do something.
I like that.
Yeah, it's so simple, but
It
it's so
is.
profound.
But because I said it, people ain't gonna feel me until I'm
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah,
old.
don't go around thinking you hot stuff. You're not.
You know I'm right too.
Yeah, you're not. You are not hot stuff. Eat that. Like understanding that, hey, I'm not what I think I am. And that opens the door for you to be whatever you want to be. But if you already believe that what you think you are, knowing you ain't did nothing, you're still nothing. Then get mad when people who do the work boldly talk about it. I've been out here in these streets. I've done the work. I'm not gonna let you who've not done anything tell me that I'm too cocky.
And the only reason you don't like me proclaiming it so boldly is because I'm a constant reminder of what you're not.
Say it again.
The only reason you don't like me boldly proclaiming it is because I'm a constant reminder of what you're not.
One more time.
In a perfect world.
One more time.
The only reason you don't like me boldly proclaiming what I am is because what I am is a constant reminder of what you're not.
But that ain't got nothing to do with
If
me.
anything, that should motivate you.
That's you. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Cause I was doing this for me.
Mm-hmm.
Good talk, guys.
Beautiful.
I enjoyed this topic.
Why did I wait till the end of the video?
I don't know.
Like beautiful, bro. That was beautiful.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next week's gonna be a break week because I'll be out of town. After next week, you can catch us same time, same place, 7 o'clock Thursdays. If you haven't caught our other videos, then you can go to my YouTube channel. There's Aaron Tate, AARONTATE. You should see my handsome face. Click on it. You'll have access to all the videos that we've done so far. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and click that bell so you can catch every time we go live. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye to our future selves. One day we'll look back on this and wonder why we were ever like this in the first place.
Have a good night.
And why.